يا واسع العفو يا واسع العفو والغفران والكرم قد جئت مرتجفا من زلة القدم ذنبي عظيم ذنبي عظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. In the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah. And may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His Prophet Muhammad, his family, his companions all, and his followers until the day of resurrection. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I greet you with the greeting of Islam. Peace be upon you. I'm continuing the series of human rights, a Muslim perspective. And I'd like to point out that I already talked about the Islamic point of view as I see it in regards to the human rights. And we have already addressed the very first one, which is the right to life. And we already mentioned the importance of saving the lives of oneself and others, as well as also not transgressing against anyone, hurting them, causing any loss of life whatsoever, unless with a due right under the Islamic law and Sharia. And I need to point out to some of the acts committed in the name of Islam and what is known today as terrorism. Of course, Islam is not into this, and Islam does not support the killing of innocent people. And whatever we see in the news committed in the name of Islam by whatever individuals or groups, no matter what they call themselves, where they kill innocent people, passers-by, people in their own houses, people in hospitals, people in companies, or even targeting non-Muslims who live in Muslim countries under the protection of these countries, then obviously they have transgressed against the rights of these people. This is a grave and terrible violation of the rights of these people. Even just the fact that they make them fearful, let alone if they injure them or even take their lives. This is not in any way acceptable by Islam, and only there are some rules and regulations in terms of how non-Muslim combatants are faced in the battlefield of war if the requirement is there to do so. But nonetheless, all these actions taken in the name of Islam are not right. I need also to point out that some of the actions taken by these people come in response to the violations of human rights of their own groups or their own countries. And they feel that this is just a retaliation for what has been done to them. The airstrikes, the bombing, the killing by states, and the imprisonment, and all the various violations against their own rights. These people stood up to defend their own rights, but we know that in this way you cannot in any way kill innocent people, even if they belong to a particular culture, even if they believe in a different religion. This is not an excuse, this is not a reason, because terrorism cannot be justified by terrorism. And we know that terrorism breeds terrorism. In other words, as we can see, people inflicting some of their violations of human rights on others, and others are retaliating, and it would be just an endless war or endless battle to hit and run or hit and kill, and the other side would do the same, and this will lead us nowhere. It will be a vicious circle. So all violations of human rights have to be stopped from any side, whether this is being a Muslim or non-Muslim. All violations of human rights based under the Islamic Sharia, as Allah has given us to lead us into the straight path and to keep us safe and sound and happy, and let us work together towards peace, towards common living and finding ways to cooperate and live in tranquility in this world. And obviously that has to be the case, and we need to make sure that there is a sacredness of life in Islam, and that life is so precious in the view Islam of every human being. Now, coming to the second point of human rights, which is the freedom of religion. Yes, everyone would have the choice of their own religion without compulsion, because as Allah says subhanahu wa ta'ala, la ikraha fi din, there is no compulsion in religion. No one shall be forced to believe in something, because every person was born free with his own or her own choice to choose their way of life, and that is in no doubt guaranteed by the Islamic law. However, if a person has accepted Islam, they cannot leave Islam and depart Islam after they are convinced with their own choice, because it would be like a play where you enter Islam today and leave it tomorrow. It's not a play game, it's not something that we can change from time to time. Yes, of course, like all religions, Islam calls others to accept this religion, because we understand that this is the religion of all prophets, and Islam came to save humanity and came with the same message to all prophets, that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, and to single Allah in worship and not to take partners with Him. This is the basic message of Islam, and can be supported by evidence from the earlier history of prophets and nations, and can be supported by reason, by sound judgments from fair people. And only these people who choose a religion other than Islam either follow their own religions blindly without thinking, or they are careless of not being serious about considering this matter. Those serious in the world, we have seen many of them coming into the folds of Islam after a long process of judgments and rethinking their own creed and principles of faith. But nonetheless, as I said, there is this freedom of choice, and Islam gives people their own freedom. And of course, in today's world, we have mostly in the world secular states which do not condone one religion over another. And I hope this is the case, where they give Islam the freedom, just like any other religion, to defend its own principles, to call to its own way in peace, and of course with all the means that are possible and good, and without violation of the rights of others. This is understood, and Muslims have to be careful of all the influences of the dominant cultures and the hegemony of the very nature of the economic systems in the world, whether this is being capitalism or socialism, and particularly capitalism, where big multinational corporations are really introducing their own cultures, which is going to be at the disadvantage of nations throughout. And as we can see that although we defend the basic human rights, but we defend also the human rights in the sense of health rights, for example, the rights of people to live in a clean environment. People have to live in an environment conducive and supportive of their own value system. This is important. I can see, for example, that in a country like India, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, and others live all in peace and tranquility, which is something to be praiseworthy. It's something that we would like to appreciate, because no one is coming to Muslims to prevent them when they conduct themselves. Of course, we are against all the violent acts that may be committed in the name of Islam in order to defend someone's cause. But if the states take their own positions and allow people freely to worship and to practice their religion, and without harming others, obviously that is the ultimate aim. I need to stop here and continue more on human rights, a Muslim perspective, in a short while. Please stay around for this break.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother in Islam, Mamdouh Muhammad. You're watching Peace TV, the solution for humanity.
A friendly message by Dr. Zakir. Islam prohibits killing of innocent human beings.
Every day, innocent human beings are being killed in different parts of the world. Most religions condemn the killing of innocent human beings. But Islam goes a step further and says in the glorious Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 32, if anyone kills a human being, unless it be for murder or for spreading corruption in the land, it would be as if he has killed the whole of humankind. It does not stop here, but continues. And if anyone saved a single human life, it would be as if he has saved the life of the entire humankind. Remember, please do not kill a single innocent human being, but rather save the whole of humankind by saving human lives.
Human life is precious. Peace TV, the solution for humanity.
Zain Bhika and Daud Wansby Ali.
Hey kids, time is very precious.
This life is a gift from Allah.
Utilize this gift for here and hereafter.
Enjoy this gift in the light of the Quran and Hadith.
Enjoy Islam with us, Zain and Dawood.
Enjoying Islam with Zain and Daud, next on Peace TV.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man ittaba'a hudah. Welcome. Welcome back, because we are discussing human rights from a Muslim perspective. In today's world, we have mostly in the world secular states which do not condone one religion over another. And I hope this is the case, where they give Islam the freedom, just like any other religion, to defend its own principles, to call to its own way in peace, and of course with all the means that are possible and good, and without violation of the rights of others. This is understood, and Muslims have to be careful of all the influences of the dominant cultures and the hegemony of the very nature of the economic systems in the world, whether this is being capitalism or socialism, and particularly capitalism, where big multinational corporations are really introducing their own cultures, which is going to be at the disadvantage of nations throughout. And as we can see that although we defend the basic human rights, but we defend also the human rights in the sense of health rights, for example, the rights of people to live in a clean environment. People have to live in an environment conducive and supportive of their own value system. This is important. I can see, for example, that in a country like India, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, and others live all in peace and tranquility, which is something to be praiseworthy. It's something that we would like to appreciate, because no one is coming to Muslims to prevent them when they conduct themselves. Of course, we are against all the violent acts that may be committed in the name of Islam in order to defend someone's cause. But if the states take their own positions and allow people freely to worship and to practice their religion, and without harming others, obviously that is the ultimate aim. We talk about the political rights in Islam. Of course, the matter of freedom of opinion and freedom of expression is guaranteed as long as they do not disrupt the fabric of the society, as long as they do not provoke people to do something that is not acceptable. But we should be very much bearing and patient to the extent where we allow other opinions, which may agree or disagree with us, as people in charge, as people in authority, to allow this. We know that some countries do not accept this to take place, but we know under the Islamic law, as long as the opinions expressed are not really attacking the very fundamentals of the faith, and they're not disrupting the stability and security of the society, then obviously we should have in mind that this is possible. It is possible to listen to other opinions that will create a healthy atmosphere for people to exchange their own views and to know where the truth is in terms of running their daily affairs. And we understand that we shall give the freedom of opinion and freedom of expression the right to be expressed to the fullest extent possible, unless they come to the red lines or they cross these red lines where they get into the very fundamental, universally accepted beliefs by the Muslim nation, the Muslim Ummah. We know that if there's a Muslim rule, then obviously they will set the rules for this, and people will be happy as long as the Sharia is being applied, as long as there is fairness, people will live happily. But because of the very deficiency in how people's affairs are run today, we will find examples where people are not happy with what is taking place in their own respective countries. That's why they may resort to these extreme expressions, attacking others, and obviously seeking to express their point of view as, with anger and all this. Yes, we can understand, but still, we need to come to reason. We need to give everything its own right extent. We should not be exercising these expressions and opinions under any pressure from other sources or from other cultures being pressed against us, or we borrow these things from outside of our own Muslim societies. This is very essential and very important. Of course, in the political atmosphere, people have the right to be run by justice and just governments, and they abide by the law of Islam, the Sharia, in order to rule these people with. It is the governance, because the saying of Allah and the saying of the Prophet ﷺ take precedence over the saying of anyone. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تُقَدِّمُوا بَيْنَ يَدَيِ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. O ye who believe, do not put forward, meaning your own saying, before that of Allah and that of His Messenger. لَا تُقَدِّمُوا بَيْنَ يَدَيِ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, and fear Allah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Very Allah is all hearing and all knowledgeable. So it is important for us to put these things in the right perspective. This is the Islamic view, as I see it, of human rights. Then when it comes to family rights, we understand that family is the basic unit of any society. And marriage has to be based on the acceptance and agreement of both parties, both sides in marriage. And they have a responsibility towards the raising of their children according to the Islamic rules. The marriage has to be a work of partnership. And of course, women have the responsibility to raise their children, and men have the responsibility to support the family, to be the head of the family, and to work towards satisfying their needs, their basic needs. And obviously, if we take care of our children and raise them in the best manner and according to the Islamic principles, obviously we will have a very peaceful and tranquil society, unlike what is taking place today, where we might have some principles at home, but then when children go outside, they find some other pressures from the popular culture, from the intrusion of these cultures of capitalism and wanting to sell bad food, music, film industry, all these things that support the freedom of selling anything, even if it causes harm to the value system of the people of the world. This is the challenge, and all people of faith have to face this. And we have to struggle to lessen the importance and influence of this popular culture on us, and especially on our children, who will be raised in such an atmosphere where they need to be supported, where they need to have their values well established. This is something that we all need to work with, even with Christians, with Jews, with Hindus, with all the people who are for decency, for great manners, and respecting the family, respecting the traditional values of respecting the elders, respecting those in authority among us. All of these are important, and today's world is witnessing different values coming and creeping into our own traditional Islamic values. Obviously, human rights in this sense do not give the right to anyone to intrude into the very traditions and values of any particular society. That's why when we talk about the freedom of expression and freedom of religion, we don't take it in the sense that those who have the power can abuse this power, whether it's missionaries being supported by wealth from powerful countries, and they use the disadvantaged people, since they are in need of money and care and so on, healthcare, education, all of the basic necessities in life. They may use their own needs in order to convince them that this is the right way to follow this particular religion or that particular religion. If we need to help anyone, we shall help them from a human perspective, for a human reason, and of course it's their own choice to choose whatever religion or value system they follow. Family is important, no doubt, and we need to emphasize the right of traditional family values, which are being lost, and the family is being disintegrated nowadays little by little, where people are not really getting what they need to get, and people are not really holding to these values that we have found throughout history to be good as a support for the individual. Now, people are not eating their meals together at home like they used to because of the availability of food chains all over the world in different cities and different places. People are not anymore respecting their elders as they used to. Now, this time for love and affection is not there as we would like it to be. All of these things are not there, and we need to bring back this family. And I think the Universal Declaration was right in supporting the family, but we support the family because we need it. It's not a choice, it's an obligation upon the individuals in any particular society to support the family in order to bring healthy and well-disciplined and educated children. I have more on the subject. We will be continuing, inshallah, with this series on human rights, a Muslim perspective, in the coming episodes. Until then, I leave you with Allah's care and protection. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا واسع العفو يا واسع العفو والغفران والكرم قد جئت مرتجفا من زلة القدم ذنبي عظيم ذنبي عظيم وأرجو منك مغفرة يا ذا الجلال ويا ذا الجود والكرم